Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. How
Hello,
is
good
everybody?
evening. I'm
Uh,
amazing. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So, my name is Lady Poetry, and I'm hosting this show that we brought it back, the Poetic Soul Artistry. This is I love this show when I was doing it before. I'm so glad that we were able to bring it back. So it will be every Friday at this time, 10:15. We're gonna take you out into your weekend. You're gonna get nice chill vibes. Tonight we have the amazingly talented, like when I tell you, when y'all hear her later spit her shit, it's like mind blowing. Mrs. Nightlife with us. Like, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm busy, but I'm good. So yes, it's
yes,
amazing. It's an amazing time.
that's good. That's good. I'm glad. I'm so glad that you were able to join us tonight with our first show kicking into 2021. You know, a lot has happened since the beginning of 2021. And you're actually in DC, so you had a front row to a lot of the stuff that was happening over the last
Oh
couple
my
weeks.
God. Yeah. It was listen, it was crazy, because you still have to live. You're seeing it. For me, my experience was the passing of the tanks, the police officers in the streets. You can't go there, long traffic, hours of traffic because, you know, things are shut down. So yeah, it's been crazy here, but you still have to live. And so of
Right.
course I'm doing that. Life is golden and
Right. So that's good. I'm glad. I'm glad. So kind of actually going into one of the short topics, but first I want to start with an introduction. That's going to allow you to reintroduce yourself because I know how amazing you are. But there's some people out there that may have missed the memo, so I want you to run your resume real quick so they know, it's real out here.
all right. So I am Miss Nightlife, everyone. Um, that was on the spot, Brittany. Uh, that was on the spot. So usually I introduce myself with the poem. So I'll tell you who I am while I look for the poem because I haven't performed it in forever. Um, it's really short. But anywho, I am Jeanette Miss Nightlife Irvin. I am a poet, writer, author, teacher, real estate agent, um, master manifesting sister, black girl magic, um, all wrapped in one sweet and tasty shell.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I'm out here living and doing my life, creating magic. So if you don't know me, hi, I'm Miss Nightlife. How may I serve you today? I am what I like to consider myself an active floating Punany poet. I have been performing and writing poetry for years, performing it for at least 6, if not more. I've been writing for much longer than that. Um, so yeah, that's who I am.
That's who you are.
That's who
Yes.
I
I
am.
love
That's what I do.
it.
I love it.
I love it. I love it. And yeah, so yeah, for those of you who don't know, she is definitely a part of the Punani Poets, hip culture intellectual properties that does partner with LE Radio as well. So she's
Mhm.
kind of like all around the world doing her thing. So the introductions is basically what I wanted to get to. So while you're looking for that piece, or if you wanted to look at a different piece, I wanted to ask, since we were just talking about 2021 and everything happening in DC, did you get a chance to check out the amazing young lady, the poet Amanda Gorman, during
Yes.
the operation?
Yes.
Did you get to did
Yes.
you hear sit like I was literally stopped? like in mid what I don't even remember what I was doing. That's how much I was like, oh, I need to sit down and listen to her.
Yes, yes. That I cried.
Mm,
I cried. That was the most amazing, heartfelt, honest. Hey, I'm gonna give it to you as sweetly as I can, but this is what I want. Like, I'm not gonna just give you the problem. I'm gonna also give you the solution. I'm gonna let you know. And like that was so. It was demanding. That
yeah.
piece. Not once did she raise her voice. Not once did she speak with this, but
Mm,
the words that she spoke and the way that she presented them so sweetly, demanded you to listen to them. And it was, I don't know, I cried. I cried, Lady
mm,
Poetry. I promise you I did.
yeah, yeah. It
So,
was very profound. And then a lot of people were talking about her interview that she did afterwards with Anderson Cooper and how
mm,
eloquently she spoke, and when she
yes.
overcoming her adversities with speech impediments and things like that, and just being able to articulate herself. It's like one of those things when you meet someone and they speak with such like reverence and, like you said, that
Mm,
commanding presence. It's like you're forced to pay attention. I mean, she
you
could be
have
reading
no
the
choice.
instructions on the back of a cereal box and you would still listen, like, and I
Yes,
love
ma'am.
seeing
Yes.
people like that who have that type of voice. I feel like a lot of the poets that I've met in my life, and I include you in that list.
Mm,
I love that because it's like when you speak, when you're on stage, you can't help but
mm-hmm.
listen. And then I love the fact when you go through a poem, it's like nobody else is there. It's just you and the poet.
You and the
Like they're
poem.
talking directly to you. I know me as an artist, that's something that I strive to achieve whenever I perform. I want you to feel like I'm talking, like I'm sitting down next to you talking to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was like her sitting down at the table with you with
Having
the
a
manager and being
conversation.
like,
Yes.
look, we got
Yes.
some stuff we need to talk about.
Yes, honey. It was just because I watched that Anderson Cooper thing only by accident, actually, because I typically don't tune in, to that stuff. But because I had watched the inauguration, it was the TV was kind of still, on there, and so I was just like, huh, fancy catching you here. And
Right.
so I sat down and I engaged, and I was just like, this young lady is absolutely amazing. I wish she lived here because I would try to meet her,
Hmm.
you know. I just I know some Gormans here. I'm a country girl, so everybody. If your last name match somebody else's last name, then I know your mama and them. And so
Right.
I was hoping that it was something like that, but it wasn't. She's from California, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah,
Absolutely.
that was, I'm really looking for this poem and I cannot find it.
Well, that's okay.
And it's
I
a
can
really
go with
good poem.
something that kind of wraps around, kind of goes back to what I was saying about poets and us being family and how we go through
Mm,
our processes. So
yes.
I'll go first, and that'll give you time to get together. So this piece I actually wrote while I was having a game of wordplay with another poet. So
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about healing and family and what we do as poets and how we live. So I wrote, the sad fact is, the more we hurt, the better we write. That is our truth. But we achieve healing through writing, so full circle we go. Hurt to write,
Mm-hmm.
write to heal only to feel hurt again. Strange, but I would not have it any other way. Because our art is our art and our passion is our passion. And we refuse to let anyone capitalize when we are the ones ripping our souls to pieces, delivering it to the masses with every word that escapes from our lips.
Mm.
Dipped. through our world to ease the weight of complacent cognition. Yes, our mouths and tongues are better won when we are at one and the battle is done. We will never win, but are meant to lose with every word that we spew. So our souls lose what parts of ourselves, hearts lightly placed on shelves as we delve into each other's design, keeping in mind that we too are truly two of a kind.
Mm,
It's something I wrote because, like I said, with her and other artists like ourselves, like our writing is healing for ourselves. And it's like when we feel the hurt, that's when our
yeah,
best stuff comes out. Like a lot of people
yes.
make fun. I always use the reference of Mary J. Blige. When Mary J. Blige is going through something, her music is
Honey,
phenomenal.
honey,
But when she's
honey.
happy, it's still good, but it's not. It doesn't hit the same. It just
No,
it
it
doesn't
doesn't.
hit the same. So
She was my in my youth. I considered her, or maybe I was hers, spirit animal, honey child, because she was writing every part of my life. Do you hear me?
yeah.
So I don't, I don't know. I mean, I got some poems
Hmm.
that I've written recently,
Okay.
and
Well,
so a lot of them are just, I write in pieces. I've here lately I've gotten to the place of not forcing my writing, and just letting it hit. And so I'll wake up out of my sleep. I'll do, you know all sorts of things to write and get it out. And so what I will share with you is, um it's becoming one of my favorites, I think.
hmm.
And it is called, I don't know. I didn't know the title.
Right.
And so the mirror reflects, it doesn't define. You do. If your mind, body, and spirit isn't aligned, chances are you don't like what's being reflected back to you. Whether that be the mirror you stand in alone or the one someone else holds to your face in response to the deflection of you on them, the things we judge in others. Now, my question is this: whose problem is that? Is it someone else's responsibility to fix or help you? Do you help you, and why should I? When we are in alignment, we holler that we don't need no one, but then we're mad and victim when no one shows up for us. That's merely coping. Mechanisms ironically, mechanically operating automatically. Is that the you want on autopilot? Stop it. Let's switch altitudes and discuss responsibility, accountability. You're a boss, so let's talk about you owning your shit. And so, that's just me, because I think during this time, what this time has done for us, and that's what I like. I'm not as sweet as Miss Gorman,
Mhm.
sometimes. And
Right.
so I would like, in the work that we're doing, in this healing that we're doing, we absolutely have to be accountable. And
Right.
that's where a lot of my writing has been coming from, me holding myself accountable, be knowing what's happening or how I'm feeling and being able to express that, regardless of how it's received,
Mhm.
and so because we don't have time to stop and coddle every single feeling, we have real work to do.
Right.
So we got to, there's no other way to do it but to do it, right?
Right.
Get started. And so
Right.
having conversations that leads us in circles because we're being emotional isn't helping us. So we have to deal with the emotions and be accountable for our role in what's happening around us, and then move forward so that we can tell somebody, oh, you in your feelings, or whatever the case may be. I
Right.
hate that term, in your feelings, but to be able to say, hey, this is not the time.
Mhm.
And we have to get busy and get started. And so, that's what I think about that.
Absolutely. And I think it is important because I think that's one of the things as poets, that we have a way with words that can call people to action.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm
Mm-hmm.
very As just an individual, I've always been very calculating with my speech. When I speak to
Mhm.
people, I make it a point to be intentional and speak life into things, into people, into situations, because I understand you can tear whole empires down with the
You
swipe of a
can.
pen. So,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
that's something that is definitely, I think, needed now more than anything.
Yes.
Just
Mm-hmm.
that time. And I want to say hello to Stony. She said that your poem was beautiful, and she said hello to us. So
Hi,
hello,
Sony.
Stony. So yeah, I definitely feel where you're coming from on that. That call to action is very important right
Mm-hmm.
now. Has always
Mm-hmm.
been important, but I think definitely right now because of the changing of the climate and everything that's happening, this is the perfect time to capitalize and for everybody to remember. Just because the he who shall not be named is no longer in office, that doesn't mean that now we can sit back and sip lemonade
Right.
on the
Go back.
porch. Like we
Yeah.
still got work to do. We still got to keep
Yeah.
going. So yeah,
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
It's critical. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so I guess it's my turn again. All
Mhm.
right, so yeah, there
It
was
is.
a little short one that is kind of interesting of what we were talking about with being held accountable and just the conversation. So I did a writing prompt recently about black women because there's been a lot of
Mhm.
conversation about black women and how we're perceived and how we're looked at, how we're treated in different facets of society and different things. And I wrote this piece after when Trump was doing his campaign. He
Mhm.
went to Louisville, Kentucky, which is where some of my family is from, and they still live now. And during the rally, long story short, there was this black woman that was there, and she was just there to watch. And because she was in a crowd of white people, and these white men became very aggressive with her and were like
Mhm.
pushing her out really hard, pushing her out of the area. And I noticed like all the white women just kind of were like looking, they didn't really do anything. They kept just pushing her out. So I thought about that girl and in that moment how she was feeling because there was a lot going on there. So I wrote this literally really quick that came to mind called Release. And it goes, relax, relate, release me from this grip you have on my life, dictating strife and plight at the mere sight of my skin, deep hatred within. The confines of your psyche tells you I would be better off dead. God must not love me because if he did, he wouldn't have made my skin so black. My hair so nappy and my womb so polluted with ambition I lack in abundance. Tell me something, white man. Do you hate me because my skin reminds you of where you come from? Do you hate me because my pride and beauty outshines your women and then some? Do you hate me for a reason you know not to be true? Or do you hate me because you know there is no you without me?
Mm.
And I
Mm.
read that really quickly because it was like a lot of people are just so quick to be combative with things and with us having the insurrection recently. And I was reading an article, AOC, she hasn't been back to the Capitol since that happened. Not even for
Wow.
the inauguration because she said she felt
Wow.
afraid by her colleagues. Not even just that there would be people, but other congressmen and women. She was afraid. And it kind of goes back to what you were saying is holding accountable and coming back. It's why is why is there that strength in that hatred? Like where is that? I wish I'll say all the time, like I wish my black body was worth something to you other than just being dead. Like my black life matters as much as my black body does,
Yes. Yes.
you
Yes.
know? So it's just
Yes,
one of
ma'am.
those things. Like and I think it was also Stony, and I were having a conversation recently about how we definitely need to use our words now. We definitely need
Mm,
to hold these spaces, hold people accountable for things. Like I said, we just because there's a changing of the guard in the government doesn't mean that we can sit back and relax now.
we can't. We can't let up. The momentum has to continue. I mean, it has to be steady. Nipsey told us we're running a marathon. It's a marathon. You
Right.
know what I mean? You cannot. You cannot move so aggressively, so quickly. You have to take your time. You have to
Mhm.
train accordingly. You have to stay in shape. You have to do all of these things. And the insurrection, like for me, it was the election of him who shall remain nameless for me. It was that because I didn't understand. I was like, how do you let a reality star person become the president? How do you let someone who's paid their way through high school or bullied their way through life or, used his influence and power to become the president of the free world, right?
Mhm. Right.
And so as a black woman, you said that you've been writing for black women or here lately a poem for black women. Almost every piece I have is for a black woman. You know what I'm saying? Or written from the perspective of or with the idea of the black woman in mind.
Mhm.
Because that's my experience every
Right.
day, all day, no matter what, right? And so, um, what I want to do is share my poem. Um, I guess it would be considered my signature poem.
Mhm.
It's changed. It's in my book. Actually, I have a book called "What You're Not Gonna Do," and that's the name of the poem. Um, for written for black women because somebody's always policing a black woman. Black
Mhm.
women police black women more than anybody.
Right.
But that's another conversation. That's an accountability conversation. It'll probably be hard because you can't tell black women nothing. Me being a black woman, I know. You know.
Right. Right.
So I'm gonna share this one with you. Is that okay?
Of course. Of course.
All right. But what you not gonna do
Mhm.
is dictate how I dress, when and with whom to have sex, and then tell me I should bend to the nature of grown men. Blame me for rape, then turn around and say covering up is surviving. Stop excusing the fool that can't keep his penis pinned. Put the animal down before we rise up and do his ass in. I've died 1,000 deaths hung for someone else's sin. You can't tell me when to die again. It's time for your insecurities to stop raping my confidence. And what you're not going to do is say what the hell you want to say, expect me to suck it up and let you borrow my straw to suck the life out of another day, using misogynistic principles to govern me, lock me in a cage and tell me I'm free, call me pretty and treat me ugly. My nigga, what you not going to do is keep respecting me, calling me out of my name, bad mouthing my hair because I wear it naturally. What the fuck I look like? I'm not your hoe, your bitch, or your baby mama. I gave you life. And what you're not going to do is lean your tired ass against my back, tap me on the shoulder, wanting me to turn over when you're ready for me to lay on mine. Attack me because I tell you no in the sheets when I don't know your acknowledgement in the streets. I am a black woman. I carry the weight of the world walking on my 2 feet, and you knocking me to my knees puts me in a position to walk you on yours. And what you're not going to do is bring all that drama to my door, stepping on the joy I gave you when I created space for you to enter my universe. Fed you the main course, a force unfamiliar to children that just leave their toys on the floor to be trampled over. Have you no manners? The hell you mean? Let me learn you how to clean up your act. You can't enter my house like that. And what you're not going to do is make my life the life you live. Black women have always and will continue to be the trend. And as much as you make us the victim, victorious is how we reign. And the pain say her name for her work isn't in vain. And your poison doesn't flow through our veins. So like I said, what you're not going to do is keep walking past the leader of your flock like she, the black woman rocks. Lift her up.
Yes, you better go. See, I told y'all she's amazing. Like, I mean, I said it. I told you. Hate to say I told you so. But yes, I so we definitely gonna talk about your books before we go because definitely everybody needs to take part in that magicness. But yes, like that is I'm gonna get that piece and I'm gonna have you sign it and I'm gonna just get it up on a wall somewhere so that everybody that walks into my house can read it and be like, yeah, that's what's up. Like, because
You got that.
that is so powerful. Thank you so much. Yeah, everybody is snap snapping. Just to go back to the comments, Stony has said this world isn't free. It's paid
Mm,
for repeatedly by the
mm,
blood and beatings of black
mm,
people. And
mm.
Marquita Hampshire said, we needed him and the insurrection to happen to really pull back the eyes that wanted to remain shut. Which is, I definitely agree because there's a thing about willful ignorance, ignorance being bliss, and it's like at what point can you no longer be like, all right, yeah, this is not happening.
Right, right.
Like, no,
Mm,
no, you're just overreacting. It's not all people are out to get black people. All police aren't bad, and then it's like all of his entire 4 years happen, and it's like, oh, well, yeah, I guess black people are getting mistreated. Oh, I
right.
guess brown people are being mistreated. Oh, so you can no
It's
longer,
norm. It's
yeah,
norm. It's not even a. I mean, it's like, oh, I mean, it's you become desensitized.
hmm
I mean, non-black people, it's easy for them to become desensitized because it's just like another random thing. Oh, Joe's dog got hit today in the middle of the street. You
right.
know, it's
It's not a
I
traumatic
yeah.
experience. It's not a lived traumatic experience, so they find it hard to relate. Like it's on
Mm,
this, I can't relate. Sorry, I don't know. But then now, like I said, you have these riots, you have the insurrection. Like the woman that was killed. I don't wish death on anybody like that for real. But I also thought about it. I'm like, well, she kind of did take her ass from California to DC to
Well,
storm
listen,
the
this is my
Capitol
thought
once
about
again.
that. This is my thought about anything. I believe in balance, right?
Of course.
I believe in the return of energy or vibrations. I believe it is like you throw a rock in a puddle of water, it'll
Mm,
ripple out and ripple back in and ripple out and ripple back in, even beyond our sight. Correct?
yes.
And so, I mean, if that's the energy that you put out, it
hmm
is it is quite unfortunate. It is
Right.
quite unfortunate that that was the return. But what's more unfortunate is that you was living in carrying that kind of energy around with you.
Right. You're
I
right.
mean, so
I mean, it
that's
is
the
what it is.
reality of things. That it is. It's ugly as it is. I'm saying it's a hard conversation. That's a reality. I don't. You know.
Yeah.
We should be. We should be. You should be where you're supposed to be.
Right. And if you where were you supposed to be? Like, I forgot he was a comedian on Facebook and he said if you stay in your lane won't be no traffic.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
mean,
Yeah.
but
So I get it. I get it. I do. But
right.
that. Listen, that whole
Right.
conversation that we just had right there. That
Right.
was a whole conversation.
That's something, you know what? And that was a black conversation too, a black girl
Listen,
conversation. 'Cause
everybody
we
that is
had
tuned in understood that
whole
conversation.
dialogue in silence.
Mm.
Like, hey,
So yeah, yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
to switch gears a little bit,
Okay,
I
come on, let's
wanted
do
to
it.
do something fun or whatever. So I'm gonna share my screen, and I want you to show you a video, and I want you to tell me what you think about it. It is kind of on
Okay,
the spot, but I thought it would be something really cool to do. So give me just a
okay,
second. I'm going to add it on, and then I'm gonna play it.
okay.
Let's see. Let's see if it'll actually load up for me because I was having some trouble with it before. But this is basically this is a cool video that I saw, and it's basically talking about the different types of poets.
Okay.
So here, let me add it back up because we always have that conversation. Like you've been to slams, you've been and done different things, and like you always have this specific type of poets that come through and they just kind of kill it. And
Mm,
then you also come across those like the veteran poets that come in and everybody knows them. Everybody has favorites for them and they always perform their favorites. And you got the ones that kind of are real deep, just extra
mm.
deep.
Yes.
Super deep.
Yes.
They might not 100% make sense, but they're just real deep. Like you just got to kind of go with it. And then you also have the poets that are kind of like kind of read because they're new, so they kind of read in the phone and everything. So I wanted to kind of pull this up if it's going to work for me. It doesn't seem like it wants to. Um, but we may be. It looks like okay. So it looks like I tried to pull it up, but it's actually not going to work for me. But I'll just
Okay.
go through and describe it. So basically, like I said, it was different types of poets we all know. So it was going
Yes.
through like that, like I said, the veteran poet. It has the the really deep one. It has the nasty poet. It has the has the poet that walks out into the off the stage and into it. So it's like, what type of poet do you consider yourself when you perform? Do you feel like do you have a particular style when you perform? Like how do you go with it?
Um. So I would consider. Is it was an eclectic poet one of those
Yeah.
options?
There was an eclectic poem. It was the broken-hearted women ain't shit. Like all these poems. Like they had all these different kinds. And next time I'm gonna make sure it's queued up properly. But yeah. So they had the eclectic poet on there. They had a few of them. So you would consider
Okay.
yourself an eclectic one?
Yes. When I first started my journey, yes, it depends on when you talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started poetry publicly, it was a kind of a release piece, like getting it all off my chest thing, surviving my
Mm-hmm.
therapy, right? It was my therapy then. And then I got an opportunity to do erotica. I wrote an erotic poem in response to an erotic poem that I heard.
Mm-hmm.
And so it kind of came a thing. It was a really good poem, I thought.
Yeah.
And so I started performing it publicly, and then I auditioned with it for Punany, and like immediately started touring with them. And so um, during that piece, I guess that was all I would perform. That was all I would write was erotic poems.
Okay.
But then I wanted to change. Like I wanted to do something if I didn't want to just do that. It was time, maybe it was spirit calling or I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, but I needed to do something else. I needed to write something else. And so I just started writing what I felt. Then I started writing about experiences that moved me, maybe than my own, somebody else's. So yeah, I think I'm a little bit of you gonna what you gonna always get is raw black woman.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Unapologetic raw black woman. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, I think I'm all that wrapped in one. I'm a
All that
ball.
rapping. Okay. Well, since you
Yeah.
went into the erotica and it's Friday nights and everybody's feeling good, do you have an erotic piece you could share with us?
I do. I do. I'm gonna keep it sweet, and it's been a time. I don't want to be all harsh and
Okay,
whatnot.
so it's we raw, real, and uncut around here. So whatever the spirit moves, that's how we gonna go.
Hey, oh, this one is it's one I can't remember the name of it. It's really short. I
Mhm.
don't know that I named it. I'd have to check my records to see if I named it. But right now, as I'm reading it to you, it is not named.
Okay.
I met a trumpet player in the Carolina backwoods. Could those fingers know they had permission to push and tug my buttons? In a sudden, I found myself wishing I was nestled snugly in between the thumbs, toyed with and glided over a classic ensemble we would be. I, a willing instrument to the trumpet player's fingering. I figure if I had to choose, I'd be a stringed instrument. A machine pluck and flick my strings. I mean, anything to fill the air in and on my blowhole, that mouthpiece, a beast. And those lips, those lips had every right to produce changing sounds, vibrating around low notes slowly until high pitched frequencies came more frequently and a musical score pieced together masterfully was formed.
Mm, mm. Okay. Yes. Okay. I like that a
Yeah,
lot.
I liked that one. That was a good one for me. That one was fun to write. And I wrote that. Yeah, that was a good fun to write.
Right. Awesome. Okay. So let's get into your project. So I know you have a couple books out. So let's talk about those and what you have coming up for you. Do you have any um virtual performances or anything else coming up?
Okay, so I have two, 2.5. I've written 3 books. My first book was called Velvet Truths, um, and I may have some copies around here. That one is no longer in print, and I don't even think that the publisher has it available online anymore. But I may have some copies of that one. But that one was written back some years ago. My second book is called Reclaiming My Time. And that one is a practical guide to self care. That one is available on Amazon and on my website in the back of my trunk, because I am independent. And so my last book I wrote not this past summer, but summer before last in Trinidad. I went to Trinidad for 30 days by myself, didn't know anybody. I just wanted to go because I'm considering um, becoming an expat and living abroad. And
Right.
so I wanted to. So I've been COVID messed up this year's um, trip because my intent is to go somewhere, for the next researching for the next few years to see where home will be. My next home will be, and so I was there and I wrote "What You're Not Gonna Do," which is a book of poetry. Um, for the Black woman, I have grandgirls, and so for them to, be like, for them to have a guide,
Yeah.
shout out with lost, you know what I mean? And
Right.
so yeah, and so I got those out. I have a visual poetry project that I'm getting ready
Hmm.
to begin. Kind of play with some things there. Some audio projects will be coming soon as well. I do have a live performance in February.
Hmm.
Valentine's usually is busy season for me because of the erotic poet that's inside of me. And so, yeah, I got a live show, socially distanced, mask on show coming up here in, the area. Um, and other than that, I'm staying busy. I'm working. Real estate is my next baby, my newest baby, and so, you know, however I can combine the two, I shall.
Yes.
So stay tuned for that.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Well, that's awesome. So definitely, what is your website again, so everybody knows where to go?
I have my website is sweettoothmedia.com. It is spelled just like it sounds, Sweet Tooth Media, no spaces.com. I am also on Instagram at Nightlyfes, Nightlyfes _ and on Facebook at Miss Nightlife, MSNIGHTLYFE.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. So I'm so excited about that. So, So I guess we got a little bit more time to take it out. Do you have another small one for us? You can kind of tease us with on our way out.
An erotic one?
It could be let the like Rebecca Lawrence said, let the spirit move you.
Okay, let me see. I have one. It's not really erotic, but it is very intimate and sensual to me. I mean, this is the most intimate way that you can be with someone. So I call it shadows.
Mm,
I want to sit naked with you in a confined space, slightly uncomfortable from the heat generated by energy within and between the dimensions that separate us and bring us together. Staring intently beyond the black dots and white noise of your eyes, saying nothing, anticipating the message that lingers on your next breath. Inhaling the exhale just to know the flavor of your thoughts, cloaked in necessary darkness. Ebbing and flowing in light, shielded by closed eyelids that our shadows get acquainted. I want to touch you. Share the pulse of my heart, found jumping through my fingertips at the idea of your face, lips, cheek, being on the receiving end of inexplainable vibrations, but I don't. You feel me anyhow, toying and tickling the parts you find the most unattractive, attracted to your desire to know them. Because the best way to conquer the unserving is knowing. We letting go of the illusions of control, releasing all things that interrupt us, prevents us from arriving to destinations of our desires. So come, sit naked with me, among the shadows, getting better acquainted.
mm. Yes, I love that. Like I love that intimate. Like you said, it's not erotic, but you definitely feel close.
Mm,
Like that's something. I think one that sharing space, intimate space with someone without even touching them, to me can be the closest you can get to somebody. Because I mean, technically speaking, you could, if you wanted to, you could have sex with anyone and not could be
mhm.
connected.
At
On
all.
the physical level, even the mental level, some people are able to do that.
Mhm,
But
mhm,
to something as simple as just sitting with
mhm,
someone and holding
mhm.
space for them is not easy. And so when you can do it with someone so effortlessly, it's like you want to hold on to that. Yeah.
Yes, I think it's important. I think it's important. I think it's important to just,
Mhm.
and just regardless to what comes out, it's authentically you. You're not for everybody. You know what I
Right.
mean? And so that's the painful part because you want to be for somebody, and you're hoping that somebody is your everything, and you know what I mean. And so it's I think we break our own hearts with expectations and believing lies of love. And so to truly love someone is to see every ugly thing about them and that they think is ugly. You might not think it's a big deal, but
Right.
um, they think it's ugly, and you're like, yo, you tripping, it's crazy. Like, I love that part about you. And finding a way to get balance with it and accept, and like that healing thing is continuous, and to be able to sit in heal with someone, to sit in heal, you know what I
Mhm.
mean, to sit in a healing space with somebody, no matter how uncomfortable, you know what
Mhm.
I'm saying, because you can tell your mama anything, right? You can
Right.
tell your mom anything. You can, and it's most times it's no judgment. It's an amazing thing,
Right.
And so to sit like that with someone outside of your family, to make that a familiar thing, that's love to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we have a couple comments. Rebecca said that was beautiful. Marquita Hampshire said, you find yourself inside yourself.
Mm,
And I think that's important. When you said that, we break our own hearts, that made me think of one night drinking, and I was thinking, and that drunk poetry, like we had talked about before, where I had said, every so
Speaking of,
often, yes, every so often, I break my own heart just to remind myself that I have one. And
mm,
I wrote that
mm,
because, like, exactly, because
mm,
sometimes when you're going through life and you're just busy with the hustle and bustle, you forget that you gotta take care of self. You forget about yourself when you're in a relationship with someone who is not the least bit healthy for you. When you're in that toxic relationship and you're dealing with someone, it's you often forget that you also have a heart too that needs to be fed, that needs to be nurtured and cared for. So
mm.
that breaking your own heart and that being in those intimate space with someone, that's I think is very important. Absolutely.
It's critical to have that experience at least once in your life. If you're a great manifester, you'll have it more than once over and over again. You know what I mean? But
Absolutely.
because you create that, you create that. So
Okay.
yeah.
So I wanted to because actually going to show since we're talking about poetry and we're coming up on Valentine's Day, so we definitely want to make sure that everybody who is local to your area does become a part of your show. So, is there any more details around the show where they can purchase tickets or anything?
Yeah, there is a link. It's not on my website yet, but there is a link on Facebook as well as Instagram. And you can inbox me, send me a message on my website or however, and I can shoot out the link to you.
Okay. All right. So another thing we're gonna do, since you had referenced the Punani poet, we actually have a piece called "My Little Black Box" by the incomparable Miss Jessica Holter herself. So
Indeed.
we're gonna play that video for everybody, just so you know, the mistress herself, the head doctor herself. She will can come
Yes.
on here and speak.
Come
Oh, and
on,
before we do that,
Jessica.
we're gonna go. But I just wanted to comment. Karen said you tend to forget that you matter too in a relationship, and that goes back to that intimate space and wanting that intimacy. So you're definitely right, Karen. But let's go to the video. Okay. So it looks like the video, I'm not sure if everybody was able to hear it, so we may play that back a little later. But
Okay.
yeah, we'll kind of get back into that. So we are coming up on the end, unfortunately. We have to go. But I really enjoyed you coming on the show. I really appreciate you taking the time because I know you are a very busy woman. And I appreciate you just sharing your light and your words with us because like I said, words are very important, always intentional, and I appreciate you giving those pieces of you. Like I said, ripping them pieces of yourself to us tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. Um, and I look forward to connecting with you further.
Of course, of course. So thank you again, everybody, for tuning in tonight for the first Poetic Show Artistry of 2021. This show will be coming on, yes, every Friday at 10:15. So definitely come on. We're going to be following right after the ATL mix. So you can tune in at 9 o'clock to watch the ATL mix with those four ladies talking real raw and uncut about everything. And then you can stay a little bit, get you some wine, like Miss Nightlife has a cocktail. Get you a nice little cocktail, some wine, or if you can't drink alcohol, get you some water, some juice. And come through and vibe out with us always. So again, this has been amazing, Miss Nightlife. Please be sure to check out all of her social medias. Get the book, everything. And if you in DC, Baltimore, DMV area, get the tickets so you can see it live action and in color because it is definitely an experience. And then don't forget to go to coffeetalkradio.com so that you can see everything. You can also have access to the social links there. I know myself, I got a profile on there. Miss Light Love has a profile on there. You can see everybody, and just reach out to us, connect with us, and show it. So, our next show, we have another amazing poet that will be stepping through with us. You can tune in tomorrow. Ami Brown, the Hood Healer herself, will be
Oh,
hitting us with some good, yes, the Hood Healer will be coming through and hitting us with some great like self care, self
mm,
love, holistic practices. Tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time or 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. So again, I want to say thank you everybody for joining with us, and I hope you have an excellent evening and a good night.
good night.